distributed to this bunch of disks. Then after that we are going to processing the data. So if you see here, now when we install Hadoop, so we get a one file system with the name SDFS. So Hadoop uses a file system SDFS, which is a Hadoop distributed file system. Hadoop uses a file system SDFS. Now the input data which we are trying to process, we should make the data available in a SDFS. Once the data is available in SDFS, then we are going to process the data. So how to process the data? So we have the different program executions are there. So get the data to the file system, and we are going to process the data with the execution engine. We call it as a MapReduce. So here, what is a MapReduce here? MapReduce is an execution engine. Okay, it is an execution engine. Or suppose we can have the SDF as a file system. I want to run the jobs other than the MapReduce, then we can use Yarn. So Yarn is a non-MapReduce. I'll teach you what is a MapReduce later. So here MapReduce is a data processing system where we are going to process the data which is available in SDFS. So here Yarn is an execution engine, right? So it's a where we are going to execute the job, right? So which is the processing environment. So it's yet another resource negotiated. The same way your SDFS plus Spark. So this is the client specific. Some people will use MapReduce as an execution engine. Some clients they use Yarn as an execution engine. Some clients they use Spark as an execution engine. So what is the meaning of here the execution engine? That is, I'm suppose my data is available in a file prod underscore info is a file. So consider this is a CSV file. Now I am having the data. So I'm trying to retrieve some information. Suppose I just want to see how many users visited the product today. Okay, or suppose what it's an e-commerce based client. So the merchant, suppose Amazon, they wants to know right now at this moment, so how many products, the total cart value. Now the total users who is visiting the products in Amazon, so there are the people they have added the products to the cart. So what is the total cart value right now? I just want to see. So these are the different queries we are having. So this query I'm going to run in one programming language which is supports Hadoop, right? Either it can be a Hive, or it can be a Pig, or it can be a Java, or it can be a C, C++. So it can be any programming. Even we can use an Excel to query this, okay, in Hadoop. So I'm going to query the data. How many users visit the product today, right? So from how many users from Chennai visited the product. In that one, how many purchased the product. So this is the different queries I need to run on the data which is available. So where this is the file, the data is available about the users who is the product, then I'm going to query the data like this. So now this is the query I'm going to query in different languages. So when it is specific to the Hadoop, I use a Hive is a one programming language, or I use a Pig, or Java, or Python, right? So to write this query, to write this job, okay, so I wrote this query and I press the enter. When we press the enter, so the query should be executed, right? So that execution engine, so the query, the processing can be done either with a MapReduce, or can be done with a Yarn, or can be done with a Spark. So it's a clientic. So not all the clients will use the same thing. Some people will use a MapReduce, some clients will use Yarn, it's right now it's people right now they are using Spark. So these are the execution engines. So this environment where we are going to run the programs, right? So what we are doing now, so this is a query, this is the data we are getting to the Hadoop cluster, then we are passing the data by querying the data. So when we are passing the data, so we are having the different programming languages are available, and we use those programming language to query the data. Okay, so where this prodinfo.csv is available, so to work in Hadoop, we should make the data available in a SDFS. See here, first this is considered we have an Hadoop cluster like this, right? So one master and 3 slave nodes are there. Okay, so now consider, so this is a 3 node cluster, right? So one master, 3 slaves are there, and have to process the data. I need to run the jobs on Hadoop cluster. I need to execute the programs on the Hadoop cluster. So to work with the Hadoop cluster, to run the programs, we should get the data. We should able to collect the data to the Hadoop cluster. So now this is a newly configured cluster. So then what we have to do, it's a newly configured cluster, or the cluster which we are working for the day-to-day activity, right? We have to collect the data. So if a particular client which you are working is having the data in his production database, right? So then the data is available in a production database. So considered, so this particular client is getting 50 gigabytes of the data in a day. His data size is 50 GB into DBMS. Then in a month it reaches up to 15 terabytes of the data. Can the database handles this much of the data? No. Can we able to query 15 terabytes of data in a RDBMS? No, not possible, right? So this particular client doesn't have any alternate. He has to move the data to the Hadoop cluster, right? So here I use a small programming which comes under the Apache Hadoop umbrella, which comes with Hadoop, that is a Sqube. Then this particular component will collect the data from the production database to the Hadoop cluster. I just run three lines of the command to import the data. Then the data from the production database will be written to the Hadoop cluster. Now we get the data. So once the data is available in Hadoop cluster, that means in each Hadoop cluster we are having a HDFS file system. So suppose here we have a table. The table name is a test1, right? So then we imported the data which is available in test1. So the test1 is written to the data nodes in a Hadoop cluster. So these nodes in a Hadoop cluster, so we have the total data, the number of rows are equally available in all the data nodes. Now I write a query, or I write a program to analyze the data which is available in a file test1. So that query I can write in a Hive or a Pig, right? Once I wrote the query, I got an output. Now I want to send this output back to the RDBMS. Yes, I can able to export the data, right? So now see here how we are going to process the data. So here my client is having the production DB. So I'm getting the data with the components Sqube to the Hadoop cluster, and then here I'm performing some processing, or I'm performing some querying the data. So when I'll query the data, that querying can be done by the execution or the data processing, where we are going to do that with a Hive or a Pig or a Java or a Python. You can use Excel, you can use a JavaScript, or you're a good .NET developer, you can use a .NET. So any programming language we can use in Hadoop. So that's the advantage here. So finally we are going to query the data. Once the query the data, I want to store the data into Hadoop. Yes, you can store the data into Hadoop cluster, or we can send the data back to the RDBMS, right? So both importing and exporting. So what you have to remember now? So you have to remember, so in a Hadoop we use one component is Sqube, and which collects the data from the production database to the Hadoop cluster. And once the data we imported from the production database to the Hadoop cluster, then preferably we use Hive and Pig to process the data. Okay, Hive is a programming language and Pig is a programming language. So with this Hive and Pig, we are going to process the data. After that, I can able to send the data back to the DBMS. Now here, okay, so but not all the clients will have the data in a DBMS, right? Some clients, their data is obviously very big size when it is coming to the eBay, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, right? So their user size is it's too large, right? So they can't store the data into RDBMS, but they really done some network attached storages. That is, now the data is available in a server here. Okay, so when the data is available in a server, or the data is moving through the server, then I have a one component here in a Hadoop is available, that is a Flume. Okay, so with this component Flume, I'll collect the data from the server and we write the data to the Hadoop cluster, right? So Flume is a component which collects the data from the server. So it's a database, and this is the server, so where the data is available. Now with the component Flume, we collect the data from the servers and writes the data to the HDFS Hadoop cluster. Now once we get the data to the Hadoop cluster, then we process the data with a Hive and Epic. As of now, don't think that Hive is a difficult program. Hive is like a MySQL queries, right? The same select, alter, update, delete, insert, right? How we use in MySQL, the same kind of the statements we use in Hive to query the data. So we preferably use Hive to query the data. So now the data is available in the server, collect the data using a Flume in the Flume, and just make the data available in a Hadoop cluster, then process the data with a Hive and a page. See now, a client is a database, or a client is having a server, or suppose there are some specific clients are there, so their application, the application which they are using, they generate the files, that application generating a lot of Excel sheets. The particular application which they are using, they are generating XML files. So now here my data, the particular client's data is available in a disk, right? It's a individual disk or a small computers or in a desktop machine. So somewhere in the disk the data is available. Then we can able to configure FTP, right? So if you have the disks are available, then we can able to FTP the data. So we can use a file transfer protocol, and we can configure an FTP client. So using this FTP client, we can able to collect the data from the disks to the Hadoop cluster. See now, so this is how we are getting the data from the various external resources to the Hadoop cluster, right? So once the data is available here in the Hadoop cluster, that means each cluster here is having the nodes. In each node we are having HDFS file system. So the data which we collected from these external resources will be stored into the HDFS file system. Once the data is available in HDFS file system, so I'm going to process the data using Hive and HBase. You can use Hive, or you can use a Pig, or you can use a Java to process the data. After that, if you want to store the data again in a Hadoop cluster, yes, we have a NoSQL available here. So it's a database which we use in Hadoop cluster. So it's a NoSQL like RDBMS, and the name is HBase is a language, right? Like if we say DBMS MySQL, so here we say NoSQL HBase. So we have RDBMS, we have MySQL, SQL Server, Teradata is available, right? So that's the RDBMS. So what are the NoSQL databases here? You can have HBase, then Cassandra, RC, MongoDB. So these are the NoSQL databases. Then I can able to store the data into the NoSQL, or I can able to export the data back to these external resources. So this is how generally what we have to do in a Hadoop cluster. So your job role, now you are working in Hadoop, so either you should involve in collecting the data from the various external resources to the Hadoop cluster. Then we perform the data processing in a Hadoop cluster with these data processing tools, and then we store the data into these NoSQL databases. Right, streaming the data in the sense, right, real-time streaming. So as the data is coming to the Hadoop cluster, from this, see here the data is moving through the server. So I want to stream the data from the servers to the Hadoop cluster. So we can use the different streaming tools here, like Storm is there, then Kafka, Storm, Kafka, then you can use Spring XD, right? So these are the different streaming tools. Apart from the Flume, we use to stream the data to the Hadoop cluster. So as the data is as somebody tweeted here, so that will be streamed to the Hadoop cluster. So immediately we can able to identify. So what is the top rated view tweeted right? So that we can see how many people liked it, so disliked it, the comments. So the real-time streaming, suppose the previously, so this real-time streaming is not possible in Hadoop. So suppose somebody is trying to access your net banking, suppose you got the two wrong passwords, right? So that should be informed to you the next day. But here when you have the real-time streaming, so if there are the two wrong password attempts, so immediately this application which you wrote will send the mails to the corresponding department, so it will be given to your related bank, then you may get a call. So right now in the next right, so somebody is trying to access your password, or you did the two wrong password attempts. So that's real-time streaming is too possible right now in a Hadoop cluster. So to perform the real-time streaming, so we are using these tools, Storm, Kafka and Spring XD are the streaming tools which are available in Hadoop, part of the Hadoop cluster streaming tools to perform the real-time streaming to the Hadoop cluster. Right, so this is the different types of way we are collecting the data. Now, okay, so when we talk about the Hadoop, right, Hadoop cluster, so Hadoop cluster is classified as a master and slave architecture. Okay, so it's a master and slave architecture. So what is a master here? So master node in the sense where we are writing the references. Suppose we have the bunch of disks are like this, and we configure this bunch of disks as a nodes, and whenever we are going to write the data, so the files are written to this bunch of disks. So when we wrote all this data into this bunch of disks, at some point of time how to locate the file, right? So there are so many files we are writing, so to locate one particular file we need some index, right? So you have given a textbook, right? Without the index, right, we can able to locate the topic, but it takes a lot of time. But if you have an index, yes, we can able to locate the topic the same way. So as the data we are going to write to the Hadoop cluster, so whatever the data we are going to write, that reference we are going to write into this master. So here we call the master is a name node. We call the master as a name node. And so the actual data where we are writing, so these nodes we calling it as a data nodes, right? So that is now the input data which we are collecting from external resources, the actual data is going to written into these nodes. That is where we are writing the actual data. So we calling these nodes as the data nodes, and all these data nodes are connected to a master node which we call it as a name node. So now what name node contains? Name node contains reference of the data. Okay, so name node contains reference of the data in data nodes, or in other words you can specify name node contains index of the data. So whatever the data you are going to write, so the index of the data in data nodes, so that is written into the name node. And the data nodes contains the actual data which we are going to write to the Hadoop cluster, so that is written into the data nodes which we are writing to STFS. So these nodes are called as a data nodes. So the Hadoop cluster, so this part is a master and this is a slaves. So here one master node I'm having, and I'm having the 5 data nodes as a slave nodes. Okay, so now what I did, I have copied a file prod_info.txt to the Hadoop cluster. Either I have collected this file through the Scoop, or have collected this file from the server, so whatever it may be. So we get the data to the Hadoop cluster. Now the client, right, the client or the user is trying to run a job. So I just want to count the number of rows. Then what a client will do, so the client entered a query, select count of star, right? From some we have the data which we organize the data as a table. So my data is available in table, select count star from the prod_info. So this is a find query. So when the client enters this query, so we have one service that is a job tracker is available, right? So this job tracker will take the request from the client, okay, and then it goes to the name node. In the name node, it will try to locate the reference, so the client which looking the data, so in which data node it is available. So the job tracker goes to the name node. In the name node, it will identify in which data node the data where the client wants to run is available. Then the job tracker comes to that particular data node, and the job is going to be executed. So here every data node we have a task tracker is available, right? See here, in each task tracker resides into the each data node. So how many data nodes are there? In each data node we have a task tracker, and in a name node we have a job tracker. So always the job is a job from the client is taken by the job tracker, and job is assigned to the task tracker. So always a task is executed by the job task tracker. So task tracker resides in a data node, job tracker resides in a name node, right? So these are the Hadoop daemons, or we can say Hadoop processes. So job tracker is a one process which takes the request from the client, and then it goes to the name node. In the name node, it will identify, because name node contains index of the data in a data nodes. So the file which the client wants to run, so job tracker locates the reference into the data nodes. Then the job tracker comes to that particular data node, and it will assign the job to the task tracker. Then task tracker will execute the job, and the task tracker will give the output back to the job tracker. Then job tracker submits its output back to the client. So this is how user query is going to be processed. So first what I did here, you can see one example I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is the Hadoop environment which I'm using. Now you can see here, if you, it's a Linux terminal. Okay, so if you write ls, will give you the local file system. So the local file system means, so these are the files that comes with the operating system. So we have a Hadoop file system. So in the same disk I have installed the Hadoop. So I have Hadoop file system is available. So to access the files from the Hadoop file system, I can run Hadoop space fs-ls, press enter. Now it will list the files from the Hadoop file system, right? So this, as I told, no, in each disk we have the two file systems are available. One is a local file system, and other one is a Hadoop file system. So the Hadoop file system that comes when you install Hadoop, so we'll get a Hadoop file system. So in each disk, one is local is available, local file system. So here we have SDFS available. So what we did, to access the local file system, I am running a command ls. To access the Hadoop file system, I am executing a command Hadoop space fs-ls. If you observe here, so the Linux command, if you add a prefix for a Linux command, if you add a prefix Hadoop fs, that command becomes as a Hadoop command. Now to list the files which are available in SDFS, I am running a command Hadoop space fs-ls. Right, so these are the files which are available in SDFS. Suppose if you write mkdir, will create a directory in a local file system. So it's a Linux command, right? So if I write mkdir Rajesh, right, so where this directory Rajesh created, it's created in a local file system here, right? The same way, to create a directory in Hadoop file system, then I'll run Hadoop space fs-mkdir. So then the directory name Rajesh, press enter. Now the Rajesh directory is created under the SDFS file system, right? So to access this, if you write Hadoop space fs-ls, press enter. Now we can see here, so this is where we can find the directories which are available in a SDFS file system, and the directory which we have created is Rajesh available here. Okay, so now each disk, so in this disk I'm having the local file system as well as SDFS file system. Okay, so what I'll do now, suppose my data is available in a production database, so then you can see starting MySQL here. Okay, So let me connect to the MySQL. So I'm writing MySQL -u root -p, right? So the password is root new root -p. The password has specified. Okay, so use test. Now suppose here I'm having the show tables, right? So I have a table test1, right? So you can see here what we'll do now, we import the data from the MySQL. So here I can run a command like something scoop import, right? So this command will import the data to the Hadoop cluster. So when we run this cube import, so this command imports the data. So where the data is available, so I'll write a simple command like this, connect. So I use a JDBC method. Then where the data is available, it's available in a MySQL. So write JDBC colon MySQL colon / just write the local host and the database name, the test, and which the table which I'm going to import is a table, just write test1, right? I'm going just showing how I'm collecting the data. So I'm going to teach you the more about this command in a scoop session. Okay, so just I'm writing a scoop import and I'm trying to import the data from the MySQL database test where I'm having a table test1, right? So I run this command, press enter. Right, now we'll get the data to the Hadoop cluster from the production database. So now the data resides into the SDFS. Okay, so once the data is available in SDFS, then I can create a table in Hive. Then using Hive, I can able to query the data. So this is how we are going to work in a Hadoop, right? So we retrieve the 4 records. So now you can see in the MySQL, uh, right? So what we have, select start from test1, right? So this is the table, right? We're having 4 records, Ajay, Sid, Rakesh and Rohit. Now you can see here where we imported this, we imported to the SDFS. So in the Hadoop cluster, so it creates a directory. What is the table name? With the same table name, a directory is going to be created. So Hadoop space FSF and LS. Now you can see the test1, right? So we have a part file here, so where the data which is imported is available in this file. Now we can run a cat command, Hadoop space fs cat, then test1, then write part -m -00000. See now, so right, so what I did now, the data from the MySQL I have imported to the SDFS, right? So this is the data which is available now. So with this cube I have imported the data to the SDFS. Now in the SDFS, what I'll do now, I'll start a Hive to query the data. So I'll use a Hive like this. Okay, so in Hive I can able to create a table. So by writing a simple statement, I'll write create table. So you can write some table name. So test1, then you have to define schema, id is an integer, name is a string, right? Then specify how each field is separated. Then we write something like this, and it's a CSV data, right? So fields terminated by, you can write a comma. So this is how we are going to process the data. So now I have collected data from the MySQL to the SDFS. Then I have loaded the data into Hive table. So Hive table is, this is the Hive query. The way how we code in Hive is like this. I have created a table with a statement create, then the data is available in a file, so I use a load statement to load the data. Once the data is available here, then I can able to process this data by writing the different select statements or by writing a select query. Start opening. Press this as submitted the job. That is when I press the enter, means the job is going to be submitted. So the submitted job is taken by the job tracker. So in the job tracker, uh, now, so this job tracker is will take the request from the client. So here, why Hadoop jobs are faster? Now, if you see here, I'm writing the data to the Hadoop cluster, right? So where I'm having multiple data nodes are there, and the input data. See here, this is the data node 1, data node 2, data node 3, data node 4, data node 5. In each data node, we'll have in a SDFS file system. So the input data resides in a SDFS file system, correct? Now, where we are going to run the job in each data node where the data is available, and in each data node we have the task tracker is available. That is in a Hadoop, where the data is available in the same place we are running the jobs, because generally what we are doing, so we are collecting the data from the other resources, right? So then the data should be brought up to the some server and the processing takes place in the server. But here in a Hadoop cluster, where the data is available in the same place we are running the job, right? See here, this is here in this data node. So the SDFS, the data is available here, and the task tracker is also available in a same node where the data is available. So this is the reason why Hadoop jobs are faster in a Hadoop, where the data is available in the same place the jobs are going to be executed. Okay, so this I have restarted this virtual block VM player, right? Hadoop space fs-ls, then if you write ted talk, now you can see the files which we imported, right? So this is a part file where we are having the data. I can run a command Hadoop space fs-cat, then write ted talk, then write the part file name 00000, press enter. Okay, so this is the data I'm having SDFS. Then I can in a Hive is a data processing tool which is similar like MySQL kind of program, right? So I can create a table here, create table, then you can create a table right, like a TED talk, then ID is an integer, then write the name is a string. Okay, so define the schema for the table, right? Because here one is ID, then second one is a name. So my table name is create a table, the table name is data, ID is an integer, name is a string. Then here we have delimiters are there, right? Each field is separated by the comma. The same thing right here, row format delimited, then write each field terminated by it is comma, right? So a table is going to be created with the name TED talk, right? So the table is already exists. Let me change the name TED talk 89, right? So I have created a table. Now where the data is available now, the data is available under the directory TED talk in a file part hyphen m hyphen 50. Now right here load data, then local in path. So from where you are trying to load the data, so we write a statement here load data. So I want to load the data where the data is available in a local file system, which is in the path. Which path? It is under the home Cloudera. It's available in load data. Just write in path. So under user, then Cloudera. So there is a directory. What is the directory name here? TED talk, right? So user Cloudera, then write the directory TED talk. Under this we have a part file. So write part hyphen m hyphen 50. So where in this file I'm having the data, right? From this file I want to load into the table, then write the table name. So the table name is TED Talk 89. Press enter. Okay, so now we get the data to the Hive table. So you can write select star from TED Talk 89. Okay, see now from MySQL I have imported the data to the SDFS. From SDFS I have loaded the data into the Hive table, then I can query. So if you write select count of star from the table name, so write TED Talk 89. So this job which is going to run as a MapReduce job. So when I press the enter, so this is a job. So this job is taken by the job tracker. So this is a client job now. So see here, this job is executed as a MapReduce job. So the client takes the job and the job is given as a job ID, and now the job is executed as a MapReduce job, right? So this is what we call the processing the data, right? So what I did now, first I have imported the data to the SDFS, then I have loaded into the Hive for the data processing. So in the data processing I can run the queries like this, then I got an output, right? So this is the output. Now we can store this output into the SDFS, or you can send this data back to the NoSQL, or you can export this data to the MySQL. So how you want to query? So how many nested statements? Now how you query the data? How you write the select statement? So how we are trying to retrieve the data? It's based upon the query, or based upon the job which you are going to run. Based upon that, we have to write the query. So this is how Hive program looks like. You can use Cloudera Hadoop, right? So they are giving Hadoop in the form of CDH. Okay, so the recent version which is available 5.7, CDH 5.7. So in the CDH 5.7 we have Hadoop is available. The Hadoop recent version is 2.7. The same thing, the another Hadoop distribution or vendor is Hortonworks. Okay, so you can use the Hadoop from the Hortonworks. They are giving Hadoop in the form of SDP, which is Hortonworks data platform. They are giving Hadoop in the form of 2.4. Okay, and the same Hadoop version is available, that is 2.7 we can use. And there is another vendor, that is a MapArt. So they are having the three different versions of the Hadoop, that is M3, M5 and M7. So the same Hadoop version we use here, 2.7. Okay, so the recent version of the Hadoop is Hadoop 2.7 from the Apache. So what they did, so they integrated Hadoop 2.7 in a Cloudera environment they are giving us. So when we buy the Hadoop from the Cloudera, or you buy the Hadoop from the Hortonworks, or you buy the Hadoop from the MapArt, but the component, the stack which we are using is the same thing. The same we use a Cube, the same we use a Flume, the same we use a Hive and Peak. So everything, so that comes, whatever the things that comes with Apache Hadoop, the everything is available in a Cloudera, Hortonworks, MapArt. It's like I told in the previous session, the movie is the this one, and these are the theaters where we are playing, right? So
Okay.
then where the difference comes, the movie is the same, the difference comes in the price, the difference comes in the feature, the difference comes in the environment which they are providing. But the actually how we are collecting the data from the various external resources, and how we are going to process the data with the data processing tools, how we are storing the data in a Hadoop cluster in a, as part of the NoSQL. So this is the same in all the Hadoop distribution, or you can say it's the same data processing available with all Hadoop vendors.
Okay.
Okay, so
Then wha-
yes,
then one more in Hadoop you are connecting directly to Hadoop user.
uh, Hadoop
We
user,
are just no, we are just exporting and importing tables in MySQL to Hadoop and Hadoop to MySQL. It is possible to do for a particular user.
yes, now yes, that's we can do that. So we can able to create a user, we can have user management is available, we can do that one. So all the things with the privileges and everything is available here, right? Because
Okay.
it's already configured, giving us most probably tomorrow session, right? So I'll teach you, not this kind of environment we'll have. So this is as for the test
Okay.
I have shown you. Tomorrow I'll show you how to connect to the Hadoop cluster. So I'll use a putty to connect to the Hadoop
Mm.
cluster, and I'll use a WinSCP to upload the files to the Hadoop cluster. Then the putty will going to access the Hadoop cluster, right? So it's like it's an interactive. It's a beginning session, right? So I just want to make my topic very simple and easy. I have chosen this particular topic. Okay,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So as you said, Jairam, so that's I'm going to teach you in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you about the Hadoop file system, SDFS file system. So then, so how this input file is there, how it is going to be created as a blocks, how the blocks are placed, then where it will be written. So what is that? Where the main difference comes with the local and SDFS file system, how to connect to each individual node, and I'm going to show you how to identify the cluster information. All those things are there in that particular session. Okay, Jairam?
Okay, okay, Ajay.
Yeah. Okay. And if you see here, the Hadoop will give you the graphical user interface. See here, when we are working with Hadoop from the Cloudera, so the Cloudera will give you a one component Hue. Okay, so Hue is a one component which available in a Cloudera, where we can do everything in a graphical user interface, right? So till now what we did, we used Hive, right, in a Hive terminal. So if you are not much flexible working with a Hive or the Hive syntaxes, or working with a Hive in a terminal, you're not a functional program, technical programming skills, then you can use Hive as a GUI editor. Now see here we can able to run the queries. So now we can see show tables, right? So click on execute, right? It will give you the GUI, graphical user interface. Then I can able to run Hive, I can able to create a big program, so I can able to browse the file system. See now, so this is what we have created now. Okay, so if you write select to start from the table which we have created, select start from TED Talk 89. So from here we can run. Now see, we can identify the color, right? So the default words and the user created table. So it will help in a different ways. Okay, so the thing, right, the people who are not much technical using the Linux terminals, then they can use Hive here, you can use a pig here, and you can use HBase as part of the NoSQL. So HBase is available here, and you can browse the file system through file browser, right? So this is SDFS file system now. So if you create a directory, Hadoop space fs-mkdir, then Rajesh, as Rajesh created now SDFS, it already exists. Right now you can see Hadoop space fs-ls Rajesh to see the files. Okay, so like this, suppose if you have a file here ls, then you can copy a file with the command Hadoop space fs-put, and the file which you want to copy, then specify the file name input.txt, right? Then you can specify where you want to copy. I want to copy to the directory Rajesh. Like this, we can copy the file to the SDFS directory. Now the file from the local file system is copied to the SDFS. Now you can also do the same thing from GUI. So here you can now create a directory, click on new, then directory. So give the directory name Jairam. Then a directory is going to be created and under the SDFS file system. See now you can see here. Okay, say a directory is created. To upload the files, click on upload, then write files. So select the location from where you want to upload the files, select it. Now see here, I have uploaded a file. So this is India versus Pak.txt, right? So these are all the matches played between India and Pakistan, right? So now how you want to query the data? Now you load the data from this text file to the Hive, and then you can start processing. You can able to query like so, right? So who is highest played score? Right? How many times each player played above 50 for each year? So now how you want to query? You can able to query the data. Right, so this is here the complete graphical user interface is available. Okay, the same way if you use a Cloudera, it's a Hue, and in the Hortonworks we have Ambari is available. Okay, see here, if you are using Hadoop from the Cloudera, then Cloudera, so we have SDFS file system is available where we are storing the files in SDFS. Then we have Hue is available available for the graphical user interface for the developers to work. For the administrators, it's a Cloudera manager is available, right, to administer the Hadoop cluster. So it's an admin tool. So like we have Nagios is there, right, Ganglia, we know that, right? So the same way in the Cloudera, we have Cloudera manager where we can able to administer the Hadoop cluster. So if it is a Hortonworks, then so the same file system will resides in SDFS. Here instead of the Hue, we use Ambari. Ambari is a one tool which will give you the graphical user interface, right? Ambari for the Hadoop developers, as well as we have Ambari for the Hadoop admins. And if you are using Hadoop from the Mapper, so Mapper doesn't have SDFS. Mapper uses a Mapper file system. So their file system is Mapper FS, and the GUI for the developers is available here, and administration can be done with a MCS. It's a Mapper control system. Apart from that, we can use Ganglia to monitor the Hadoop cluster. We can configure Nagios to monitor the Hadoop cluster. So these are the other cluster monitoring tools. Now as a Hadoop developer, we store here and we work with the Hue. We store the files in SDFS. We query the data through graphical user interface Ambari. In a Mapper cluster, we store the files in Mapper FS and we query the data using Hue. Okay.